Right then, hello everyone and welcome back to the Assetto Corsa Offline Championship. We are here for round number 9 of the 2021 Super Formula Championship as we head back to Japan and to the Tochigi Prefecture for the Twin Ring Motegi round. Super Formula is back. We head to Twin Ring Motegi for the second season in a row. And we are now in the final 4 races of this Super Formula season. My name is Milan in the commentary booth today, and alongside me is my partner in crime, Giuseppe. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, Miran. Actually, my first time being here, looking at the Twin Motegi, seeing how they race on it. So it's a new experience for me. But yeah, let's see what Super Formula brings to us today.
Yeah, Motegi, a track that isn't really known internationally. And now that I am on the topic of the track, it lets me do a nice little segue into talking about it. So, the Twin Ring Motegi, officially known as the Mobility Resort Motegi, opened in August of 1997 and cost 5 billion Japanese yen, that is 44 million United States dollars, to build. The track got its name because it has 2 racetracks, an oval track and a road course. And it was built, as I said, in 1997 by Honda in an effort to bring kart, the predecessor to IndyCar, to Japan. And kart, I believe, didn't actually come here. IndyCar did. I believe they did. Yeah, no. They came there under kart and as the IndyCar series, and it ran from 1998 all the way up until 2011, and the race was known as the Indy Japan 300. You've also had WTCC, and today you have had the Japanese Motorcycle Grand Prix, which has run since 1999, and also Super GT and Super Formula. This layout, which is the road course layout, is 4.801 kilometers long and features 14 turns with a race lap record of a 1:31.4 set in 2021, the Super Formula. And certainly this is a very interesting racetrack, considering it holds both an oval and a separate road course. Obviously, there are loads of tracks out there, especially in America, who do have both oval and road course configurations. But it is interesting that they are 2 completely separate tracks. I don't think it's not a thing that's seen often with a lot of tracks nowadays. And it's got quite a lot of sharp corners. Turn 1, as we just see Rahul Patel heading through it there, is just one smooth right-hander there, and it's almost 90-degree corners here through turns 2, 3, and 4, and it gets a bit more flowing as you head into the second sector. But yeah, it is a pretty interesting track with a pretty interesting layout as well. And Giuseppe, I would actually ask you to comment on it, since you don't know anything about the track, unless you would like to.
I mean, I can try my first impressions, I guess, but nonetheless, I have heard of the track. It's not like I'm oblivious to it, but I've just never really seen any racing on it. As I would like to watch Super Formula, just of course, talking in real life, I just always forget as Blackwood gets himself a provisional pole. Just gonna mention that on the side. But I always forget because I'm not from Japan, so the times are abysmal. As for this weekend's Japanese Grand Prix that we're experiencing right now in Formula One, as I did miss qualifying because I was snoozing. But nonetheless, I think it's like a really interesting concept of having the oval and a track at the same time, and I think the 2 can overlap. In from the oval, to the road course. I'm not sure about this, so correct me if I'm wrong. But even if not, yeah, it is a pretty nice concept that did bring kart and IndyCar here, and yeah, let's see what Super Formula here brings us on the road course.
Yeah, it is going to be pretty interesting to see. As I said, this is the second time we head to Motegi, and I actually can't think how it ended last time out, as we're having all the 19 times on the board, and currently fastest is Courtney Simpson in the in-game. Fair play to the former Formula 1 driver. It is an all-Jamaican 1-2 at the moment. As I do say that, Joseph Kang goes to the top of the timing sheet. Well done from him as well. He's not been having the greatest of seasons, so it is good to finally see the vice champion back on top. And as I do say that again, commentators curse is real, ladies and gentlemen. Jafari Blackwood takes it back, and oh, this is turning into a joke. Zachary Fitzwater now takes provisional pole. That's a 1:32.344, and drivers already eager to take the pole time away from each other, already with 12 minutes to go.
Yeah, and I mean, it's only 12 minutes in, so imagine how's that going to work out as. Yeah, I saw Nutti improve as well, Treblant as well, Stella just improved. So yeah, all the drivers now getting to grip with the track. And of course, as every track, I mean, for many, it is a new track, but so is like most of the tracks in the series that we do, as you know, the concept of rookies exists. But one thing I want to put a light on, I'm not sure how the saying goes, but nonetheless, Patel is only in 10th right now, our championship leader.
Yeah, Rahul Patel down in 10th. We'll see if he'll manage an improvement later on. There's Emilia Konishina up into 15th. Courtney Simpson across the line then does not improve from 4th. He does set an improvement, but he's unable to get himself out of 4th place. Zachary Fitzwater goes across the line, and there up into 2nd goes Giulia Cesetti. Great lap from the Italian, who missed out on points last time out of Dubai. She seems to have bounced back here at Motegi, and now it is a Team Toms 2-3 in qualifying.
Yeah, it should be good for Team Toms there, but Fitzwater stays on top right now for Condor Racing. So good effort there, and he is 1/10 out of Cesetti. And Cesetti actually, I think, if I see there, if my maths are correct, only 9 thousandths ahead of Blackwood. So he's looking really close, except for one man who decided to distance himself from the other, which is Fitzwater by 1/10. And we all know how much 1/10 is in terms of motorsport, because that is surely quite some time to try and find improvements in. As for example, we're looking at Timel, who is also going on right now. Patel improved, but not enough to get him out of 11th even now, as he got overtaken on the timing sheet. Nonetheless, now we're looking at Linus Timel, who's setting the track here. No, setting a lap. But right now it doesn't seem like he'll improve. Konishina, though, is one that improves. She goes up to 11th. Ahead of Patel as well. So Patel not having the best of qualifying sessions, although he can quote-unquote afford this because he is ahead by 36 points ahead of Material. But nonetheless, Cesetti improves as well. Gets herself closer to Fitzwater, just not enough to take pole from him. And I think Noah improved as well, up to 8th.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what Rahul Patel is going to be able to pull out of the hat, as we're now seeing Linus Timel make his way around the last couple of corners through turns 12, 13, and then into the final corner. Sharp right-hander of turn number 14, as he's just going to go across the line. Let's see if he's going to be able to manage yet another improvement, and he does so up into 13th. That's 2 improvements in 2 laps from Linus Timel, and he now places himself only 0.02 of a second off championship leader Rahul Patel, as he's actually facing a bit of traffic from the in-game car there, which he has to go off the track for. Koto Sambi improves up into 11th. That pushes Rahul Patel down into 13th. And Timel That Inging car not leaving him alone at all as they go side by side. Then here in qualifying. And, well, certainly this won't do any of them any favors, and especially not Linus Timel, who's on a flying lap here. That Inging just came out of the pit lane as Timel runs off the track, dips a wheel into the gravel, and the battle carries on. This is not going to be good for the pair of them, but even then, none of the two are backing off for track position here in qualifying then, as we head through the turn 10 hairpin, and Timel now heading down the back straight. Will he be able to get past now? Heading into the other braking zone of turn number 11. As he goes around the outside line, jumps over the curb, almost forces him off the track, and unfortunately for Linus Timel, he isn't able to get past, but he does do the right decision of coming into the pit lane.
Yeah, you'd think that was the race from that footage. You'd think they're fighting for the lead or something, but yeah, quite unusual to see such battles in qualifying. But guess it gives us something to commentate upon, as Okoro-Sambi now, for example, is going to come across the line to see if he sets an improvement. He doesn't, stays in 11th, so he'll have to try once again. But guess who sets an improvement? It's Aiden Smith up to 3rd. Great lap.
Yeah, brilliant lap from Aiden Smith, the man who's been so consistent this season, has scored points in every single race, bar one. He's been doing absolutely incredibly, and we'll see if he's going to be able to carry on that form he has here today towards Motegi. As Sambi, we're seeing him duke it out with Giulia Cisetti on the track. Nicolo Sambi in 12th, though, does get ahead of the Italian driver on track. But you can see that first sector time, he's been held up quite a bit here.
Yeah, actually, on the topic of Aiden Smith, I mean, he's been so consistent, yet the podium never came, really. He's gotten some 4th places, 2 in a row even. But I think it's about time he gets a win. First of a podium, or maybe even if he wants to go for it, a win. Because with that consistency, I mean, he'd deserve at least one. But of course, in motorsports, you don't really just get things handed to you unless somebody crashes out of you on the last lap. But that's just a very specific case. Nonetheless, you have to be there in that position at the right time, and you have to get there first. So what I'm trying to say is, you'd have to battle through of the grid to finally get that podium, which I think he's been wanting to for a long time.
Yeah, a podium has been a long time coming for Aiden Smith this season, and we'll see if today might be where he'll finally get his wishes answered. But yeah, as is the case always, it is consistency that wins championships and not outright pace. And while obviously Smith isn't contending for the championship, he is ahead of people who have finished several times on the podium this season. Eric Novosad has finished 3rd and 2nd this season, and he is behind Smith in the championship. Same with Paavo Saar, who has scored podiums on 2 occasions this season, and did score one at the last round in Dubai. So Smith, despite not having a single podium to his name this season, is ahead of people who have sat on the podium this season, which goes to show it is consistency which shines above outright pace.
Indeed it does. I mean, another man who's been consistent this season and has gotten a lot of podiums and wins is Rahul Patel, who scored also points in every single race. Bar 1, which is the second round, as Yuri goes up to 6th, so I'm just going to mention that, as that was a very good lap. But nonetheless, Patel, who's had, I mean, the same consistency as Smith, just the difference is he has gotten podiums and wins, 2 in a row in fact. But I'm sure it's just a matter of time. As I was gonna say it's a matter of time before Smith gets one himself. And look at that, he gets some pole.
Yeah, great stuff from Aiden Smith. That's a 1:32.271, and finally Zachary Fitzwater's provisional pole time gets toppled, and it is none other than the consistent Irishman himself. Aiden Smith seems to be having a bit of a breakout performance here in qualifying, and it certainly is great to see And I think you'd agree with me on that one.
Yeah, indeed. He hasn't gotten a pole yet this season, so this could be a first one. I say could because you know it is in motorsports. It's just it seems like it's gonna get served to you on a silver plate, and then it just vanishes completely from you. So with that said, 4 minutes left. Improvements can still happen, but it is looking good.
Yes, indeed, it is looking good, and obviously everything can happen in motorsports, and especially Super Formula. We've seen so many last-minute clutch performances in qualifying from a lot of drivers, and here is Emilia Konnichiwa up into third. That is a brilliant lap from Emilia Konnichiwa, who has been struggling this season. I think that might just be what could turn it around for her.
Yeah, indeed, as she's now sitting in third. Us can improve as well, just no positional improvement. Oh, and we have a new provisional pole sitter. Is Giulia Ciasetti with a 1:32.204. Man, what a great lap!
Brilliant lap from Giulia Ciasetti. 3 minutes to go then, and she takes provisional pole away from Aiden Smith. And I have to say, for Giulia Ciasetti, you have to admire that never give up attitude. Whenever you have a bad performance, she's always just trying to do her best in the next round. Just try and get that back, as Rahul Patel now gets himself into the points. It is P6 for the championship leader. But yeah, Ciasetti, it seems like a bad performance almost motivates her to do well in following races, as Paavo Sarna goes up into P5.
He goes up to P5, so good lap by the Estonian. But yeah, I would agree with you there. Of course, an important thing to never just let one bad result let you down.
Yeah, and it is a strong mindset that I think a lot of drivers do lack. That failure is something you do to learn, something you do to remember that, you know, I won't be able to do this again. And it's not something that should really be frowned upon. It's more of something that you can learn by. And that's an important life lesson as well. Obviously, we're not here to give everyone life lessons, but yeah, we're here to discuss racing. But I think it does apply in the world of motorsport as well. Since, obviously, you can't win all the time. And sometimes you do have bad moments. But it's important to learn from them, I guess. And Ciasetti, I think, is a great example of that. Came off a pretty poor Formula 1 season in 2020, won on her Super Formula debut, and then had that crash in the second round, was out with an injury, and then came back and won again. Then she had two pretty lackluster performances after that. Scored a podium at Termas de Rio Hondo. Then she went pointless last round of Dubai, and now she's on pole position. But I shouldn't say anything now, because there's still a minute left in this qualifying session, and obviously the points are scored in the race. So I shouldn't get too ahead of myself, but yeah, it is something that's pretty admirable.
Indeed, as of course you did say, I mean, we don't give life lessons, but of course I think that's one of the great things in motorsport. I mean, we can learn so much from motorsport. And you can also get, I mean, there's so many emotions just behind it. I mean, in any motorsport, really, like I could say Formula 1, MotoGP. So, I mean, that's why I love it, and that's why we love it. But nonetheless, getting back to the action, I mean, we've seen some action here about Patel, and I think that's Jui. Or Jui, I'm sorry, that's a very hard last name, but I respect you, don't worry. I don't know if that's those two, but I think they're fighting here. And it's pretty entertaining to see nonetheless. Maybe that promises something for the race. We'll see many battles in the race as well. But nonetheless, just a side note, I think when we talk about improvements, Material did improve up to 9th, and the checkered flag has fallen. So we're not going to see many more improvements. We're going to see Koto Sambi being the first one to maybe improve. No, stays in 16th. Quite a silent performance for the African. But, oh, what's that?
And there's been a run-in in the pit lane here. That's David Julie and Rahul Patel. What's happened here? So they're coming into the pit lane, and oh! Patel just completely misjudges his braking. I think it was Julie braking very early into the pit entry, and David has found his way back into the pit lane. That's some swift maneuvering from the Croatian, but both of them make it back into the pit lane. So I think it was just a miscommunication from the pair of them, as we're now going to have Giuseppe Stella across the line. The man who scored points in every single Super Formula race is done. Unfortunately, can't get himself out of P15. Emilia Konishina comes in. Next across the line, Mateusz Material, who is making his way down the back straight and down into turn number 11. Let's see if he'll be able to do something here. There's Erkin Nytt behind him as well on track as he now makes his way through turn 11. Tries to set himself up for turns 12. And no, he comes in. But the man behind him, Erkin Nytt, will continue then through the final corner he goes. Let's see if the Estonian will be able to launch himself into the top 10 potentially with this lap time. And the answer is no for Erkin Nytt. He isn't able to do it. Linus Timelt, the final man across the line, I believe. And he improves, but unfortunately, he will stay in P17, and I think that is it. I think there's someone else coming across the line. Yes, Ekoto Sambi in 18th. Let's see if the Kenyan will be able to get himself out of P16 then. No, he does not. He will stay there, and I think that is largely it for qualifying. So we're just waiting for it, and yeah, there it is. And claiming her second pole position of the season, Giulia Cesetti is on pole here at Motegi.
Yeah, I mean, great performance. Got that pole like with 14 minutes to go, and then just held it until the end with a great lap. Also.
Yeah, very well done from Giulia Cesetti, and yeah. Great performance in qualifying, obviously, but it is, as I said, the race where the points are scored. And it is time to go through the qualifying grid before we get underway here at the Twin Ring Motegi. So it is Giulia Cesetti, second pole position of the season for the former Formula 1 driver. And accompanying her in the front row is Pavel Sar. Brilliant qualifying for him as well. We failed to mention him, but he's done very well. In third is Aidan Smith with Zachary Fitzwater Sr. accompanying him on the second row. Emilia Konishina lines up a very good fifth with Jafari Blackwood in P6. Rahul Patel, championship leader, in a lowly seventh with his former rival Joseph Kang in eighth. Mateusz Material will be in ninth with David Juli rounding out the top 10.
And just outside the top 10 we find Courtney Simpson, who is in 11th, and then we have Erkin Nytt. Going on, we find Leontay Blond, Erik Novosad, then we have Giuseppe Stella, and Ekoto Sambi. And further down below, we find the Swedish duo of Linus Timell and Samet Özkan, and in last position, we have Charles Scheinert.
Yeah, and that is it then. The grid is set. We're ready to go racing here at Twin Ring Motegi for round 9 of the Super Formula season. And we're underway here at Motegi. Good getaway for Giulia Cesetti. Not as much for Pavel Sar, but I think he's still going to be able to go to the inside line into turn number 1. Cesetti's going to try to cover him off on the outside line there, and she does do that. So it's Cesetti who leads off the line then from Pavel Sar, and then Aidan Smith in third with Fitzwater in fourth, and then Konishina in P5, who could come under pressure from Blackwood, and then Patel. There is contact there, and Patel is going to get the both of them and go up into P5. It wasn't the cleanest of overtakes, but Rahul Patel gets both of them into turn number 2.
I think there was a bit of nudging as well. Oh, and there's
Oh!
And I think that's Pavel Sar, I'm not sure, but it's
Smith.
No, it's Smith round. No, it's unfortunate. We have a red flag. Big accident there. I think all of the field stopped for that. But if you're going to restart the race with this, I'm not sure if you're going to be with the same... Yeah. The same grid, so Smith gets a second chance, but that could have been bad if the grid wouldn't have avoided him.
Yeah, as we're now going to get underway for a second time here, we have 6 lights. And we're underway again here at Motegi. Better launch for Pavel Sar this time, and I think he could properly challenge Cesetti into turn number 1. No, maybe not. My eyes deceive me. As we head through the first corner, I think it is Cesetti who does lead here at Motegi, but Pavel Sar not looking to let the Italian go. He's gonna try it on the outside line as they are wheel to wheel. Sar, though, on the outside line goes over the curb slightly and has to settle for second. Smith defends from Fitzwater, but Sar not letting to look this go at all as we head into turn number 4. Sar goes round the outside line as they are wheel to wheel and heading into turn number 5, but Chisetti will hold the lead here at Motegi, and there's been a crash. That's the two Swedes, that's Timell and Özkan, who have come wheel to wheel and gone into each other. As there is Kang fighting David Juli for 9th, the Croatian on the outside line trying to hold him off. Juli runs onto the gravel though, and it is going to be Joseph Kang who I think gets it on the outside line. Linus Timell is out, but the rest of the 18 are still going.
And then we have Konishina and Material going side by side, pole against pole, as we're gonna head down the straight here. Who will get on top coming out of turn 11? We're gonna see as they're side by side fight for P5. Let's see how it ends up as Material is on the inside, Konishina on the outside. Using the outside line, goes a bit wide though. Material, I think, ends up in front. Yes, he does.
Great battle then, as Konishina might have pressure from Jafari Blackwood here, and Blackwood tries a very opportunistic dive into the final corner then. Heading into turn number 1, it's going to be Blackwood on the inside line. Can Rahul Patel behind possibly get involved into this, as Blackwood is there on the inside line through the first corner. He's going to have the outside heading into turns 2 and 3. Emilia's going to try to do her best to cover off the man who's won a race this season, and Blackwood isn't able to do it. And Patel immediately takes advantage. Such is the thinking of a Super Formula champion, but I think he has just overcooked it there on exit, and Blackwood might be able to retaliate on the outside line there. Oh, accident at the back. That's Joseph Kang who's involved in it, and it seems like there's a bit going on. Kang is being held up there by Chow Shynut. They do get going again, but a lot of the guys were held up in that. I think Giuseppe Stella, even though he did get past a lot of those guys, was held up a tiny bit, as Kang is trying to get past Ekoto Sabi, the man who held up, and that is not good news for Joseph Kang.
I wonder if you can get a replay of that. Yeah, we're gonna get a replay of that. Thanks, cameraman. We always appreciate you, but...
This is what happened between Özkan and Timell. So this was Samet Özkan. I think this must have happened further ahead. And you can see there, that's Eric Novosad. Yeah, Novosad spins Timell around.
This is from the onboard, again. Yeah. I think this is on Novosad. Yeah, I mean, not sure. Unless he didn't expect Timell to break where he braked. But yeah, Özkan there was trying to get out the way, so we blamed him falsely. He just got held up a bit. But yeah, let's look now at the other accident. I think we found a bit of a trouble spot there going under the bridge. Oh, ooh. Kang and Simpson get together,
and I think that's almost a carbon copy incident there. And yeah, Simpson way too late.
And Julie also held up.
Yeah, there's nowhere David Julie could go, unfortunately, and the two Ingings make contact, but that's gonna bring David Julie into the points. Courtney Simpson soldiers on in 10th. But yeah, we'll have to see what the stewards will say about the incidents regarding Courtney Simpson and Eric Novosad. But they will carry on as we're now on lap 2 out of 24. Giulia Chisetti leads by 7/8 of a second now from Pavel Sar. So Chisetti will try and build an early advantage here.
Indeed, as we've had a bit of a chaotic first laps, even including the before the red flag, as I think we found a bit of a trouble spot there. After, I think that's turn 4 or turn 5. No, I think it's turn 4. The drivers there do tend to get a bit maybe going a bit too late on the brakes, but yeah, let's see how turn 4 is gonna get tackled for the rest of the race. And that accident beforehand meant that Kang lost out on a lot of positions, but Simpson didn't lose out on too much. So could have gone worse. But now we're gonna look at Fitzwater, who could challenge Smith for a podium. Smith does not want to get let go of that podium, as it could be his first this season. After, I mean, of course, we've talked about how consistent he's been, but what does it matter if you can't really get that car up on the top spots? And he's trying to prove us wrong here, but Fitzwater won't make it easy. But now we're looking at Tremblond fighting for Stella for no, against Stella for 12. He's also very close behind the Italian. Let's see, yes, they're gonna go to turn 9 and then onto the short straight on the round down to turn 10. For now, he stays behind, although he's looking very close.
Yeah, and you mentioned Courtney Simpson. I've got some pretty big news on that. In fact, we have had the steward's verdict. It is a 5-second time penalty for Courtney Simpson and for Eric Novosad for their incidents that happened on the first 2 laps of the race. So 5 seconds will be added on to their race time. That is pretty big for Courtney Simpson running in the points, and he will be very well dropped out of them unless he gets a move on. Giulia Cesetti though did just at the fast lap of the race. Eric Novosad, who just got a time penalty, actually took it away from Cesetti, so that is pretty interesting. Yeah, no, Cesetti good on pace, 1.2 ahead of Paavo Saar now, so she is beginning to pull away on the Estonian in second. And you mentioned Aidan Smith as well, who will be holding off Zachary Fitzwater for that last step of the podium. So we'll see how he will fare with that. Rahul Patel currently stuck behind Emilia Konishina, who is in 6th place at the moment. And this could get a bit tough, considering Motegi isn't the greatest of tracks for overtaking. So Patel is going to have to play his cards smartly here. And that's easier said than done, considering he's got a very, very angry Jafari Blackwood behind him.
Indeed, I think on the first lap he did get overtaken by Patel after I think he went a bit wide and then Patel overtook him. I'm not sure, my memory is a bit fuzzy of that moment, but nonetheless Blackwood now finds himself behind Rahul, and I'm pretty sure he's wanting to get that position back. He is close, but he needs to be closer and at the right place at the right time. However, how he finds that will be up to him, as we're now going to head on, we're on lap 5, so first 5 laps are pretty much flown by, in my opinion, but still a long race to go.
Yes, indeed, a lot of things can happen in the rest of these laps, and I agree with you there. Obviously, it's you have to be in the right place at the right time, as one of my favorite sayings go. Getting close is one thing and passing is another. So even if you are way faster than the car behind, you still have to figure out on how you're gonna get past and the best way to do it. And there's a lot of things. It is a very big thing that a lot of drivers do fail to realize. I have seen, because there's been so many instances where you've had someone struggling for pace and another driver behind is just way faster, but they keep trying bad moves, they keep making silly errors, which just cost them tenths, valuable and precious tenths. They just get stuck behind them for a lot of laps more than what they need, or even the entire race. So it is very important to pick your battles and pick your lines carefully.
Yeah, it's just as you say, and Blackwood could use that quote from you, as he is now behind Patel still. He's of course in the under 1 second, so it's not looking bad. Of course, that doesn't matter. I mean, without DRS, because this is from Super Formula, so they don't have that. But even still, being under a second is always good in motorsports. Of course, I'm talking obvious stuff here, but yeah, Patel himself could get ahead of a car here. That car being Konishina, who actually, after battling with Materia, has dropped off by a lot. So Patel has the ability to maybe pressure her and take that P6 away. And now we're gonna look a bit further down the field at the Kotosambi. This group for P15. Let's see who comes out on top, as actually Sambi looks to be very close to Charles back, but doesn't try and move just yet. Heading under the tunnel. And actually I think Kang there, yeah, he's on the inside. That touched the gas a bit. It was a try. Nick Shiga's gonna try again. Ooh, Sambi closes the door on him. He was trying to go on the outside. So yeah, Sambi defending from Kang. Good defending. Of course, Kang is gonna feel now even more motivated to overtake Ikoto.
Yeah, and this is that pack that was held up after Joseph Kang's crash. And yeah, he was trying it there on Nikoto Sambi. Sambi himself is trying it on Chao Shinat there. But yeah, Sambi moved over a bit aggressively, but he was on the racing line. And well, it is his right to keep that, as we're now on lap 7 out of 24. Giulia Cesetti sets yet another fastest lap of the race, and she is absolutely flying in the race lead at the moment.
I mean, Saar needs to step his game up if he wants to challenge for the lead, as he did challenge for the lead on the first lap, but ever since then he's been dropping back slowly. And actually now I would say quickly, because look at that, it's turned from 1.2 seconds to 2.3 seconds. So it's not looking good. He has to, maybe he's conserving now to strike back later and let Giuseppe push so that he has well, more life in his tires. But we'll see how he handles the situation.
Yeah, I guess, but also that is difficult considering Chisetti, unsurprisingly, is the fastest driver on the track at the moment, so it's a pretty tough ask, but we'll see what is gonna happen. Obviously, Chisetti can't just push on forever. As we're looking at Joseph Kang. Kang still chasing down Nikoto Sambi for 16th. Obviously, both of them, this is probably not the positions they would have wanted to contend for, especially not Nikoto Sambi, who is 4th in the championship and dueling with the likes of Chisetti and Material for 2nd in the championship at the moment. So, yeah, pretty poor outing for Nikoto Sambi, but he can't do anything but just try and do his best in these remaining few laps.
Yes, Giuseppe, I think another fastest lap once again. So she really is on the pace, she's not backing down. Now we're looking at Kang, who before did try and get past Nikoto Sambi, however, to no avail. And now we're gonna head on to lap 8, so about 1/3 of the race done, or 1/4, hold on, my maths. Yeah, it's 1/3. So it has flown by a bit, but of course 2/3 left, aka 16 laps. So now we're gonna head up a bit further up the field, just after the pack we looked at, as Shashan has a big gap to the man here, Novosad, who's been chasing Tremblant now for a bit. He is quite close, 0.4, 0.3. However, he needs to find an overtaking spot.
Yeah, this is gonna get pretty interesting. Novosad and then Tremblant. Eric Novosad obviously has a penalty, so he would be dropped back quite a bit, but he is still trying to fight against that and drive the wheels off that thing. He set the fast lap, obviously, a few laps earlier. So Novosad, it is clear that he is actually pushing to work against the time penalty, but at the moment, he's going to have to clear Leon Tremblant.
Indeed, as if I'm correct, he would be dropping behind Chao Chinat and Sambin. I'm not sure if he would be dropping to last, but he would be dropping by quite a lot. So if he wants to avoid that, he has to now overtake Tremblant and push until, well, the time penalty won't be enough to drop in too many positions. Although it is a hard task, as the field is very close to each other. So I have to see how he handles that, as Pablo Sar has actually caught up a bit to Chisetti once again. I think you wanted to mention that, yeah?
Yeah. Chisetti doesn't hold the fastest lap anymore. This man does. Pavel Sar just set the fastest lap of the race. And I don't know, is it commentator's curse? Maybe. But Pavel Sar at least has started to catch up to Giulia Chisetti. And, well, if this pace continues, I think we're going to have a pretty interesting lead battle on our hands.
Indeed we will, but of course Pavel Sar has to catch up to the Italian woman first, as he is still around 2 seconds back. So, although he does have a bit of time on his side, so it's not ruled out that he won't catch up.
Yeah, obviously not. He's got about 15 laps to do it, and we'll see if he will be able to succeed with that, as we now round the final couple of corners. Through the final corner we go. Aiden Smith keeping up with Pavel Sar as well, there in third, so not bad from Aiden Smith either. He is still trying to achieve more in this race. So we now see them head through turn number 3 down into turn number 4, and I think that gap is going up again. It is, Giuseppe. It's up to 2.4 seconds. And yeah, fastest lap of the race. It seems to have not had that lasting of an effect on Pavel Sar, as the gap has gone up again. That is pretty big of a shame for Pavel Sar. We're now looking at David Joly, who is chasing down Jafari Blackwood for 8th. David Joly, who against all odds now is fighting 4 points and fighting Jafari Blackwood for 8th. So not badly done at all from David Joly, the man who started 10th here today. Could go up yet another position. So we head down the back straight. He's going to be in the slipstream of Blackwood then, heading down into turn number 11. Joly will have to stay behind, and we'll see if he's going to be able to do anything, and that is the reason why Pavel Sar is losing time. Giulia Cesetti has taken back the fastest lap of the race, and look at that gap, Giuseppe. We talked about how Sar could eventually catch up. Cesetti shut down those rumors. It is 2.6 now to the race leader for Pavel Sar.
Yeah, it's quite a big gap, but guess where there isn't a big gap? It's between Smith and Pavel Sar, who Smith is on the race second. So we could see a change for P2. We'll have to monitor that situation, but now we're looking at another one. A man who has a penalty, so not the best situation for him to be in. Courtney Simpson, I think it's him, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But nonetheless, he's chasing after his teammate David Joly to maybe try and get himself up some positions. But I think eventually he will drop down if the gaps align that way.
Yeah, it is Simpson who does have a penalty here, but Inging and David Joly would have to hope that Simpson stays behind, because that won't do anyone any favors if Courtney Simpson overtakes David Joly. Even if he is the faster man on track at the moment, it would just mean less points for David Joly, since Courtney Simpson won't be finishing in the points anyways.
Indeed, so the best thing they could do is just let Joly fight it out with Blackwood, and maybe let Simpson hold up Nit, because sadly Simpson did get that penalty early on, so it's the most he can do right now. Only thing you could hope for is for the gaps behind him to be as big that, for example, Nit would drop back by 5 seconds, but guess who is just behind him right now? It is Erki Nut. So he'll surely not be wanting to lose out on time, as only sitting there would allow him to get 1 point.
Yeah, but Simpson, if he wants to score points in this race, just like I said with Eric Nosad, he's going to have to drive the wheels off that thing, and that is certainly not a very easy thing to do, especially when you're in a fight like this, and when it is of conflicting interest to your team and your teammate. So yeah, Simpson will just have to wait and see what he's going to do. He's got Erki Nut there behind knocking, so he could be knocked out of the top 10 even on track here.
And that would make his situation even worse. But yeah, one thing I think that is true for motorsports is the worst driver you can find around you, like behind you or in front of you, is your teammate, because that's when you have to be careful, and even more than you would with other drivers. I mean, because that's your teammate. It's a different thing if you get a penalty for taking out a driver, but of taking out your teammate, because then you've taken out your teammate, and it's not going to be good with the team. So your teammate is always a very tricky thing to get around, not even physically, also mentally. It's like there's like an invisible wall there, because you want to race, but sometimes teamwork gets in the way. So there's so many things I can say to make it short. Well, you really don't want to hope that you have to fight it out with your teammate, really.
Yeah, there is obviously the golden unspoken rule of motorsport. The first rule states that you should never crash into your teammate, and as you said, for obvious reasons. And yeah, Simpson and Julie, who did make contact with each other, won't be a fun team briefing at Inging, I'm sure.
Although it was not really voluntarily, as I think he was spun out not by his teammate, but of course there his teammate had nowhere to go. So I would add that it was an unfortunate incident, but nonetheless, the drivers in that situation, of course, in the heat of the moment, maybe they didn't realize that or something like that. Of course, I'm not in the drivers' minds, but that's for them to discuss. Nonetheless, now we're looking at Joseph Kang, once again, still in this pack, this four-way pack for P15, as he did try and get past Ekoto Sandby earlier on. However, that didn't work out. Maybe he's going to try again soon enough.
Yeah, Joseph Kang, as he breaks very late into the final corner. This just hasn't been his day at all. And it is a shame. He didn't qualify badly either, and he was running in the points for a while, obviously. He qualified P8 today. So it is a shame to see the season Joseph Kang has been having, especially considering how well he was doing at rookie racing last season. So it's a shame for Kang, really. But I guess that's motorsports. If you can't adapt, you lose out, unfortunately.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. But however, this race, unfortunate incident. Now he has to work with what he has. But now look at Yui here, who teammate behind him looks to be very close. However, no move has been tried just yet. But Yui, of course, himself trying to fight Blackwood, although Blackwood has now dropped him by more than 1 second behind. So the Croatian has some catching up work to do. We'll see how that works out. As I think actually there's a move in the back. I think there's Sambi and Shoshana that are fighting. If we look behind.
Yeah, they are. As we aren't able to see the battle between Sambi and Shoshana, but I think Ekoto Sambi was able to get ahead of Function of Shoshana. So yeah, we missed that battle. Either way, yeah, we're still looking at David Jules then, who has built a gap to his teammate Courtney Simpson, so he doesn't have his teammate bothering him anymore. Simpson is still being pestered by Erik Nitten, who is only 5/10 off Simpson, and has been around that gap for these past few laps now. Just hasn't been able to do anything really so far.
I think one thing I saw beforehand related to the race lead, I think Giuseppe set another fastest lap. I'm not sure, but I think she did. So Sar is not getting any good messages if he's asking about the fastest lap from his team. I'm pretty sure about that. But yeah, he is 2.8 seconds behind. Now 3.1. I'm sorry, I have to as the timing board corrects itself. But yeah, lap 15 out of 24. It's become even less time that he has to catch up, and it's not looking good.
Yeah, it's looking a bit bleak for Pavel Sar. I agree, it's up to 3 seconds now, but I guess that just goes to show Giuseppe's pace. The only person that could challenge her for the fastest lap was, in fact, Pavel Sar in second, and he is 3/10 off, so not 3 seconds off. So Giuseppe is, I have to say at the moment, pulling off an incredible performance, but there's still 8 laps to go, so I guess we can't write it off as anything just yet.
Indeed, as now we're gonna head onto laps, not head, but we've headed on to lap 16. We've looked at Newt now for a while, who is still stuck behind Courtney Simpson. Of course, he'd like to get past him, even though he has a penalty. I mean, probably to chase after his teammate David Jui to get even more points in the bag. But as for now, he's staying there in P11, which would allow him 1 point. However, why stop at 1 when you can get even more?
Yeah, obviously, a lot of people's mindset, especially racing drivers, is that you never settle for only something. You can't just settle for a P10. You always have to push forward, and that is a mentality a lot of these guys carry. And it is very, very important because it always pushes you. You always strive to become better. So it is a very important mentality in motorsports. A lot of people forget, obviously, motorsports isn't just about driving the car. It is about mentality as well, and how you think about yourself and everyone around you, really.
Yeah, and I would say something to that, but I'm gonna say something about the race here. Kang got overtaken by Özkan. We missed that, but he did. I think he dropped now to last place. So we're gonna look at the replay. As we missed the battle beforehand, we're gonna now look at this one. We're gonna look at the replay now. As Özkan tries to go around the outside. No, so he decides to go down the inside. Let's see how this works out into turn 4, and then coming into turn 5. They're side by side. I think he has the better line on the inside, so Kang has to slot in behind. He tried a bit of move on the outside, but Özkan showed him there that there was no room, and that's Özkan up into P17.
Yeah, that's going to drop down Joseph Kang to last place. That is, I have to say, quite a shame for Kang, as he will now be running in the position that nobody wants to be in, dead last. And, well, yeah, what is there to do now, apart from just keep your head down and try and shift your attention to the next race after this one is over?
Yeah, exactly. Don't let your, of course, don't let yourself be demoralized, if that's a word, I'm not sure, but my English can get quite creative at times. But don't let yourself just be sad after one bad race. Of course, you have to keep on and keep on. So now gonna head to the front of the pack. Material, who's chasing Fitzwater. Fitzwater, who lost a lot of time to Smith. So Smith is comfortably in that P3. But yeah, Fitzwater, who was, I think, challenging him beforehand, has now dropped to 4.2 seconds, so quite a big gap, and that allows Material to maybe push on and try and get past him. Although he has to catch up that gap first, because it is a 1.1 gap, which is quite a bit. So we'll see if he can catch on in the next following laps.
Yeah, Material could be in for a few more points here, and obviously he will need it. He's outscoring Rahul Patel at the moment, so that will actually get a Polish driver closer to Patel, even though if it is only by 2 points. And as a result, I think Material will be looking to get past the likes of Zachary Fitzwater, because he's going to need every single point in the championship, because obviously that is what you want when you are in a title fight like this one.
And one thing I have to mention, Chazetti, now with this race win, will get herself very, very close to Rahul Patel, and if she gets the fastest lap by 1 point closer, which can always help, it's going to get herself about 21 points closer to Patel, who is a closer gap than we've seen from the usual 30 plus points. So as Patel is right now in P7, we're going to score 4 points. And talking about stuff that is happening on track right now, Stella, I think with Erkinut being stuck behind Simpson, he's caught up to the Estonian. Let's see if they can challenge for essentially P10.
Yeah, Giuseppe Stella, what a drive it would be from him if he'd be able to finish in the points today. And considering he scored points in every single race he's done, I have to say it would be quite a shame to have it end here. But he's currently behind Erkinut. And we'll see if he is going to be able to challenge the Estonian, as he's only 7/10 off the man in the Team Dandelion car.
And just quick side note, I think I used to say Dandelion, Dandelion, so that's just a quick side thing I'm gonna say, but nonetheless, yeah, you're right. So let's see if they, because essentially that would be the battle for P10 as Simpson. I don't think the gap is big enough to knit yet. It's 2 seconds, so he would still be dropping behind the Estonian and the Italian as well. Maybe even Tremblant, I think so, yeah. So this is pretty much the fight for P10, as I
Yeah.
already mentioned beforehand.
I'm gonna go off topic, and I want to ask you, when did you learn that it was pronounced Dandelion?
From you, actually, but some races ago.
That is, wow. I'm glad. I'm certainly glad I could have taught you something. But yeah, it is Dandelion for those who don't know
I
as
never
well.
thought about it like lion, but no, like that. I don't know where the context came from. It's just probably because in Italian you say everything how it's written, so that's probably why sometimes my pronunciation acts like that. But of course, in English, it's kind of like French. You kind of pronounce things differently. But yeah, that's a bit off topic, but I think that's the cause of it. As I want to mention on track here now, Tremblant seems to have caught up to Stella and Newt. He could now challenge Stella for P12.
Yeah, he's gotten very close to Giuseppe Stella over this last sector, or the second sector. Sorry, I keep confusing this as the last sector because it's got a hairpin and then it's got these. It's got those grid slots. Yeah, exactly. So I always confuse it with the last corner here at Motegi. I did it last year as well, and I haven't done it on commentary, but I always think it's the last corner. But yeah, this one is the last corner. You can see they are quite similar. So yeah, Tremblant then will be trying to get Stella and hopefully Erkin Nytt as well, as the Luxembourger will be trying to secure points as well. He's been pretty consistently in the points as well this season, has scored on every single occasion bar 2 this season, so it's not been a bad season at all from Leon Tremblant. He even secured a podium for himself at Okayama, I believe it was. So yeah, not bad at all from Leon Tremblant.
Yeah, I'm gonna confirm it for you there. It was at Okayama, so you were right. Good memory there, but of course, if you could get past Stella and then eventually challenge Nut, of course, this is pretty much the battle for P10 here, as I've said 3 times now. But there's not much time for it left, as it is lap 20 out of 24.
Yeah, there's only 4 laps to go then in this race here at the Twin Ring Motegi, and Giulia Chisetti has been leading every single lap of this race from Pavel Sar. Seems to have caught up a bit by a second almost. Now as the gap is 2.1 seconds. Speaking of Pavel Sar, we just saw him take the fast lap of the race. So yeah, maybe a late charge from Pavel Sar. I don't want it to end up like last time where I say that he might catch up and then he doesn't. But yeah, we could maybe have Pavel Sar try and take out a sizable chunk from that gap between him and Chisetti.
Gonna have to look at that, although there's not much time left for catching up. He is 2.1 seconds behind. He'd have to gain 1 second a lap if he wants to challenge for the win here. And with 3 laps to go, that's not an easy task.
Yeah, no, not at all. Patel will just have to hope to be able to get Emilia Konechina for 6th. And yeah, a pretty bad race by Rahul Patel's standards. Which, I mean, for some, a P7 would be absolutely incredible. But for Patel, it is a pretty disappointing weekend. It's weird to say.
It is weird to say, but even then, better to score points than to score none at all. So, and he's achieving that right now. He's getting 4 points in the bag right now, which I always have to check because I'm not that accustomed to the Super Formula point scoring format, but it is a pretty interesting one that allows for a close championship as well. Unless if you're Rahul Patel, who just decides to disregard that completely and be very dominant. But in these last 2 races, he has allowed the other drivers to have their fun. I guess we could say it like that. And unfortunately for him, those 2 drivers have caught up, have been drivers who were up the top. For example, Chisetti this race, if she keeps onto the lead, because motorsport is unpredictable, so that's why I'm saying it that way. Material, of course, there in P5 is also getting some good points home. So if this keeps up until the end of the season, we could see a late championship fight, and for Patel, that's the last thing he wants. So he should be lucky now that he has some breathing room, but the breathing room is not infinite.
Yeah, obviously not. Um, yeah, Patel obviously can afford one or two bad results, but it's important not to get complacent for Patel, especially when you've got Giulia Cisetti, your closest rival throughout the season, now on course for another win. So, yeah, it's just going to be about bouncing back in these last 3 rounds of the season for Rahul Patel as we look at Samit Özkan now, chasing down function of Chaushina. I think Chaushina braked a bit early through turn 9. It looked like that might allow Samit Özkan to close up, but we'll see how this battle will unfold as we're now on lap 23 out of 24. 2 laps to go, and Giulia Cisetti once again sets the fastest lap of the race, wanting that one extra point to get herself as close to Rahul Patel as possible.
Indeed, as that 1 point, of course, doesn't seem like a lot, but look at that. I was just gonna say because Kang was very close there, but that 1 point, we allow her to get even closer. Of course, Giuseppe, who has missed 1 round due to an injury at Okayama, so of course a retirement injury and then 2 pointless races. Imagine if she hadn't had that retirement and injury, and potentially those non-points finishes, how much closer she would be to Rahul Patel.
Yeah, would be a very, very interesting thing to think about. Certainly, you have to really give it to her, considering, as you said, retirement and then missed a round due to an injury. That is absolutely incredible that she's still able to mount a championship charge with 1 less round compared to the likes of Rahul Patel or Mateusz Material or Ekoto Sambi.
Indeed, of course, it's all a thing of determination. But just fact-checking something here real quick. I'm not sure, but if she were to somehow pull off that remontada and win the championship, or if she ever does win a championship, I think she'd be the first woman in the ACOC to win a title in any of the 4 tiers we've had, or actually 5 tiers, but we don't talk about WTCR. But nonetheless, also another thing, leaders on the final lap, that leader being Giulia Cisetti. So it's not much time left until we see who's going to be the winner here at Motegi.
Yeah, we do not have a lot of time left here at Motegi. Rahul Patel, I think, might just have to settle for 7th as he's got Jafari Blackwood closing in there behind him. So Patel, don't think we'll be able to get Emilia Konishina, unfortunately, but I might be proven wrong in these last few corners. We'll just have to wait and see, really.
Indeed, as we're gonna cut back to the very bottom of the pack. It's the fight for V16 here, with Shoshanat, Özkan, and Kang all close to each other. Of course, no move being made yet, though. Gonna cut back to the front with the woman herself, Giulia Cisetti. It's gonna come round now. Corner 12, corner 13, and then into turn 13. It's been a dominant drive. Giulia Cisetti wins at the Twin Ring Motegi. It's been a dominant drive, fast lap after fastest lap, and she takes the win here in Japan.
And that's her 3rd race win of the season. Absolutely incredible from Giulia Cisetti. What a drive here at Motegi from the Italian woman. And she gets herself back into championship contention with that. Brilliant stuff from Cisetti.
Yes, we see the rest coming home. Nut, Stella, Tremblon, Novosad, then Sambi, Shoshanat, Özkan, and Kang. Soon enough, it's going to be everyone across the line. And now it is going to be everyone who's come across the line. And your winner, soon enough shown on screen, Giulia Cisetti.
Yeah, and there it is then. Cisetti then pulls off the Grand Slam. Pole win, fastest lap, every lap led. Absolutely dominant from Cisetti here today. Pavel Sar will be 2nd, with Aidan Smith coming home for his first ever Super Formula podium. Finally he gets to taste the champagne, Aidan Smith. Then it's Fitzwater finishing in fourth with the two Polish drivers behind, Mateusz Material, followed by Emilia Konishina. Rahul Patella, lowly seventh for him, as Jafari Blackwood finishes in eighth. David Jules scores his first Super Formula points this season as he finishes in ninth. And then it's Courtney Simpson rounding out the top 10.
Then in 11th, we have Erkin Nut, who will get promoted to 10th. I think he was 4.2, so he will get promoted to 10th, so he will score points. Stella will then finish in behind Erkin Nut. Then we have Tremblant, Nosad, who will also get dropped by some positions, if I'm sure, although correct me if I'm wrong. And we have Sambi, Shoshainat, Eskan. In last place, we have Kang and Timel, retired early on.
Yeah, and that has been it then here at Super Formula. Thanks so much for watching. This has been a pretty exciting race, I have to say. But before we go, it is time to award Driver of the Day, and I have no doubt in my mind. Call me basic, but I'm gonna give it to Giulia Cisetti. I know I've given it to race winners really often, but that was a standout drive to me. I think she was fastest by a country mile today, and she deserved that win today. A lot. It was a brilliant drive, brilliant weekend overall, and yeah, Giulia Cisetti gets my Driver of the Day. What about you, Giuseppe?
I mean, I can only agree with you there. You took all the words from my mouth, and it can only be her. And honestly, that's all I can say. I don't really have anything else to add because it is only one-way choice here.
Yeah. But yeah, that's been it for Super Formula at Motegi. Next round, we'll be heading across the pond to the United States for the second American round at Watkins Glen International. So make sure to not miss that. But yeah, that's been it then for Super Formula. I've been Miran.
And I've been Giuseppe.
Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you when Super Formula returns at Watkins Glen. Thank you, and goodbye.